Once upon a time, there was a river that remembered everything. Every drop that touched it, every word spoken near it, every act of kindness or cruelty. The river never forgot. They said its waters carried the stories of the people who lived beside it, flowing through the mountains, through the forests, and finally into the great sea of time. And this is the story of how that river changed an entire valley. Not through storms or floods, but through kindness that returned when it was least expected. In a quiet valley between two tall hills, a river flowed like a silver thread. Its sound was soft, like the whisper of a mother comforting her child. Every morning, the people of the valley came to the river to wash their clothes, to fetch water, to laugh, to live. Among them was a young boy who helped his family every day. He carried heavy jars, gathered wood, and looked after his old grandmother. They had little, but they never complained. The boy often sat by the river and spoke to it softly, as if it could hear. "Someday," he said, "I want to give back to you, for all the life you give us." The river flowed quietly, but deep beneath the surface, it remembered his words. One hot afternoon, while the sun blazed over the valley, the boy saw a traveler resting by the riverbank. The traveler looked weak and thirsty. Without a second thought, the boy ran home, brought a bowl of water, and offered it with both hands. The traveler smiled weakly and drank. Then he said, "You gave me water, but you've given me more than that. You've given me life." The boy only smiled and said, "The river gives it to us all. I only shared what was already a gift." The traveler looked at the flowing water, and something in his eyes shimmered. A strange light, as if he understood the river in a way no one else did. Before leaving, he placed a small stone beside the boy and said, "Keep this near the river. Someday, it will remember." Then he disappeared down the path, leaving the boy confused but curious. He placed the stone on the riverbank, right where the water could touch it each morning. Many seasons passed. The boy grew older. The river kept flowing, but one summer, the rain stopped. Days turned into weeks, and the great river began to shrink. Fish disappeared. The fields dried up. The people grew desperate. They tried digging wells, but the water was gone. The riverbed cracked like broken glass. One evening, the boy, now a young man, walked to the river's edge, now just a line of dust. He knelt down where he once played and whispered, "You gave us life, and now you are dying." He saw the small stone he had placed there long ago. It was dry and dull, half buried in the dirt. He picked it up, and in that moment, a soft breeze moved through the valley. The air felt heavy, as if the river itself was listening. That night, the young man dreamt of the traveler again. In the dream, the traveler stood beside the glowing river and said, "The river remembers kindness. What you gave long ago returns when it's needed most. Give again, and the river will wake." When the young man awoke, he gathered the villagers and said, "We must give back to the river, not because we expect water, but because we owe it life." So the people carried jars of water from their last wells and poured them into the dry bed. Children sang old songs, and the elders whispered prayers. The ground remained dry at first, but as the night deepened, a faint sound began, a soft trickle beneath the earth. Then another, and another. Soon water began to rise, clear and shining under the moonlight. The river had awakened. The people cried with joy. The young man knelt down, holding the small stone in his hand. It glowed faintly in the moonlight, and when he placed it back in the water, The river seemed to sparkle with 1,000 stars. The river remembered, and it had returned. In the days that followed, the fields turned green again. Birds returned to the trees, and the valley came alive with laughter. People began to treat the river with new respect, never wasting, never polluting, never forgetting. They built a small shrine near the riverbank, not to worship, but to remind themselves, life flows from kindness, and kindness flows back. Every child of the valley learned the story of the drought and of the boy who gave water to a stranger. They called it the river that remembers. And so, whenever someone felt hopeless, they came to the river. They sat by its edge, closed their eyes, and listened to the soft music of its flow. They said the water carried not just memories, but blessings. Because when a kind act is done from the heart, it never disappears. It flows through time, through people, through generations, until one day it returns when it's needed most. Moral of the story: kindness is like a river. It may flow away from you, but it always finds a way to return.